Just give it a second. Okay. So now, okay. Well, let's just try that. It probably will not. No. Okay. It's BB. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay, and then oh no, sure. The other day, one of the guys that came to work with, he was in charge of the meetings, and he forgot his phone, so he couldn't do anything. So I guess in order to come here, you have to have a phone in order to do the Duo. Or is there another way to do Duo except a phone?
The only way I know is phone.
Yeah, that's the only way I know of too. So, so you can see this. If you don't mind, I might cut the lights off if I can figure out how to do that. That switch over there works 50% of the time. No, there we go. I'll have to find that other remote. It's got to be here somewhere, unless the guys with the carpet wanted it. Okay, so you know how to get through this kind of stuff. So I go to the semester, and then I find what I guess you can go to the semester and find all the classes you're in, right? Is that true? So, I mean, I don't know how each person does it differently, but that looks like that's this course. And, okay. So let me go ahead. I do not know at this point whether it is open to you. I made it open on, has anybody logged in to see it? If you can't, if you got a laptop, try to log in. Okay. So first thing I'd have to say is if you're in dynamics, there's some probability you're in statics, and I don't know the percent. I didn't check how many people were in statics last time versus 2 times ago. If you were in last time, then you know the drill. Basically, I set it up so that everything's in the content area. If you roll down, I took out one thing and put it in the syllabus. So let's do the syllabus first. Okay. Okay, so yeah, it probably takes a little time for things to happen here. Click here to, let's open it, new tab. What's that look like? Well, it makes it bigger. So these are some of the information. The office place is wrong. That's 224. But the textbook is right, and I put a big red thing because a few people asked me about it. Now, there are 3 ways that I know of to get the textbook. There may be 4 or 5 or 6 different ways. The first way is to come through the Blackboard system and go through it. If you come through the Blackboard system, you'll end up on the, what's it called? Pearson, and you can get it through that way. The other way, the second way that I know of, is go to now the bookstore, which is being demolished. So is that the bookstore off campus now? I mean, okay, so I don't know. They probably are operated more efficiently than the other one anyway. But if you want to buy a T-shirt or something that says Tech on it, I guess you can't do that, or unless they have them over there. I don't know. But you can get that, and it comes, from what I understand, it's like a little card that has a number. You go through the thing, and you enter your number. Now, the problem last semester was that Pearson had some reason to purge all the numbers, and like the second week, you would go to their site and they'd give you a new number and you'd come back in. So it was kind of weird, but I'm pretty aware that some people have to use the bookstore because, and I don't know way anything works anymore. So if you had a scholarship that paid for your books, I guess it goes over there. I don't know. Maybe you can do. I have no idea how anything works, except in this class and how things that are dynamics work. So it says the 15th edition. Okay, and then if I roll down here, these are like course goals and topics. It's good to write that stuff, but that's kind of I wouldn't. I mean, this is actually what's going to be done, but the reason this is spelled out is because of accreditation. So it's not critical that you read and know that. Like now, 227 is now 224. Maybe I'll fix that and push that back out. There's the grade percentages, course objectives. Yeah, and then I don't think I'm up to speed about all this, but this was given to us like last semester or the semester before, and these are things that we have to put in there. Now, what I did is I should have taken this last page, which I guess is page 4, and maybe moved it back there, but it's the last page, and it's the Pearson assignment information. It's supposed to say Pearson Mastering Engineering assignment information. So it does say there's a penalty of 10%. However, I think I took that off, and if I didn't, I'm going to take it off anyway because I don't want the complication of that. Now, the reason that's staying on there is because as far as writing is, it is my understanding from watching the way things work that eventually federal financial aids will clamp down on certain things. So if they may start clamping down at a certain point for courses that do not have due dates, because there is a federal regulation thing. CFR. Let's just do CFR. And if you've ever, gosh, the screen is so tiny on this one. Okay, well, and let's see. ECFR is probably the best one. There's a Code of Federal Regulations, and if you go down here, each of the titles, I mean, this is not a law course, but how many people are going to work at the power plant or want to work out there? I mean, you don't. So if you want to work out there, you will, or if you end up working out there, or there's a good chance if you work at an engineer and move up in any sort of position, you're going to become well aware of these things. So each a title deals with a particular topic. So Title 14 is aerospace, aeronautics and space. If you get down here to Title 10, if you go work at the power plant, the first thing you'll see is Title 10, section da-da-da-da, and this is the last update, last amended. Today's the 9th, so that was amended not too long ago. So these are just so we can, I don't want to see the view changes, but at least you can see in here. So you'll see a chapter. Let's see, there'll be a nuclear waste, like, okay, so that one's already pushed down. So there are all sorts of information in there. How you're storing your nuclear waste, all this other stuff, natural gas, alternative fuel, climate change, oil, everything that's happened as far as passing a law. And then there's something that, a regulation that comes upon a company or in that case, yes, a company. So there's a lot of stuff in there. So if you go out there and you go through training, the first thing you'll start seeing is Title 10, this and that. Well, okay. If you go down here to, okay, somewhere, there it is, 34, there's all sorts of regulations that are put on the university. These regulations are such that they grow. I've never seen a regulation or a regulating body that reduces its regulatory oversight. and I shouldn't say that completely because there are some things that have been removed. So people say you're going to a private university or a state university. But actually, all of them are federal universities. They all have FAFSA. You're probably familiar with you did that. You just log into your FAFSA. That's a federal thing. You file all your paperwork, you get all your crap back, and then, you get this grant, you get this opportunity, you get this loan, all this stuff. It goes through a federal thing. As, if you go to, there have been several people who opened their own universities in a P.O. box and essentially got themselves arrested because they were offering courses which were correspondence. They were essentially cheating the students. And so when you get cheated, you get your federal money. The federal money goes to the university, the post office university, and essentially the guy eventually gets thrown in jail. But the federal regulations are such that your universities are supposed to do things to validate themselves. So that's why you have administrative positions that are in charge of a lot of this. I think from what I've seen lately, I think there's going to be a push more and more towards splitting the valid universities away from the crap universities. The crap universities have been there for a long time, and they continue to show up, and they get pushed away by locking up the people coming up with them. I remember when I was teaching at the University of New Orleans, there was somebody that was at my mailboxes, etc. There's a big wall of these mailboxes, and you get a street address, and that's why the universities use these street addresses. So they had an FBI raid on my mailbox, etc. And I didn't know anything about it until I could go in, and the guy was real nervous about stuff, and I was like, I just want my mail. And it turns out they found out who he got his records, found out who the people were. It was in Slidell, Louisiana. So they locked a bunch of people up eventually. So I think that's why I'm putting that in there right now. I'm not enforcing it because I haven't seen that it's going to be, and at a certain point I may have to. The university may see that this is happening, and then they'll dictate to all the faculty that this has to happen. So a lot of things you seem like they appear at random, and you may take it personally, and you shouldn't, and neither should I, because if you look at some of this stuff, you see a reason why this happens. So, but either that or there, homework. I used to call this homework and quizzes, and I was trying to do homework and then a Friday quiz, and it got confusing to a few people, and I finally just said, well, why am I doing that? Just combine them and just have them that way. And so that's the reason this is done that way. These are done inside, and they're going to maintain the same way they did before. You go, hang on. Okay, you go to, I think it's that. Now I'll see something a little bit different than you will. And this is, you've seen it before. So if you look at, so go ahead and do the introduction to mastering engineering, because it was there, and so I'd have to delete it. And so I thought, I don't want to delete it. It's some free points. And so if you look at homework 1, it's the same stuff you saw the last semester. Is anybody in here that wasn't in here last semester? Like, not in here, in statics last semester. Did anybody here that took statics 2 semesters ago or more? If not, am I saying anything new or not really? And so I threw that away. I basically have the final exam. I adjusted things to that. The stuff is set up so that it's, you get, don't quote me, but I think you get 5 tries within when you start the assignment. So let's say this one has 12 items. So let's say you decide you're going to try item 1 and 2, and you go in and you try it, and you're like, oh, I didn't do very well. Let me restart that one item. So you redo that one item, and it may dock you a little bit for a restart. It may not. It depends on the problem, I've kind of discovered. I'm not sure exactly why. But the key is you don't get any credit if you don't get it. If you do get credit, if you do it, you get it done, you'll get some level of credit. It looks like at least 80-90%. They may dock you for a retry. Some of them, for some weird reason, you can ask for, like this one says, with hints and feedbacks. Like you said, you've seen this with enhanced. So sometimes it'll dock you for a hint, and sometimes it won't. And so, so just go through these. So if you got down to here and restarted it 3 or 4 times, you'll still get credit. And then you could come back tomorrow or something and start working on these, So you can leave it, come back. It's not time. You just do all the stuff that's in there, and that's it. So the thing is that this is a read and do course more than a me talk, you take test course. So, I don't know. I don't know what the best way is. I know nothing anymore because, there's so much new stuff going on. I'm just trying to get you through, trying to basic understand the material. It may not be perfect, but so that's the way I'm setting this thing up, How do you get these? There was 2 ways last year. One is, let me see. So for some reason, it's not populating the calendar yet. Let me go back to the thing. Okay. Does anybody want to know anything more about federal regulations or anything? It doesn't matter. When you get your job, wherever you get, maybe you'll work for aerospace. If you work for aerospace, we saw aerospace. Where'd it go? 14. So you might end up under that. And so that's, if you move up in a company, that's how come it's a little bit hard to become a manager in an aerospace company and then go over and become a manager in a nuclear company. So there's a certain part you can move up, and then you still can. I've seen people move across, but when they get too high in the company, you're stuck. Not that that's a bad thing because your paycheck's okay. So we don't care about that anymore. I guess we don't care about that anymore. We're right here. Let me check, make sure, all assignments, okay. This says due date 1/22/23. I don't know if you can see that. Here, let me do this. These are the due dates I've set, okay. It says available to student from 1/3/23 to 5/5/23. Okay, this is 2023, right?
Yes.
So I think I've got that. So unfortunately, I do not understand why it's not populating the calendar yet. Let me go to the next month. I see nothing in there. So I'm going to have to try to figure out why it's not populating. How many people use the calendar to shoot the assignment? Or did you usually go in did most people go in the content and then... Okay, so that's how y'all did it? Yeah, I don't understand why it's not populating that right now. I noticed that earlier and I thought, well, maybe it's because the course is actually starting today and it would populate. I don't know. The other thing too is sometimes it takes 2 or 3 hours. So you go out and do an assignment. It may take 2 or 3 hours for it to move it back over into Blackboard. I don't understand either. There may be a setting that I need to set in the Mastering Engineering that says shoot the stuff back. I don't know. So, but I put everything in there. Now, what I'm going to do is the same thing I did before. If you go in here right now, you'll see we're actually live right now on that. So if you're sick or you just like, I don't want to go today or whatever, You know, it's okay. So it is 9, yeah. So you can just go and hit that, and you can pick it up live. Now you'll see
curse words and all they
we're
come
actually
through, so I'll try to curse
live right
and
now
stuff like that.
on that. So if you're sick,
So
you just
the other
kinda
thing
wanna
is
go today, whatever,
technology.
it's
Okay,
okay.
so if you look through,
so
so there we are live. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens. I don't know
So you can just go
if I
hit
make this
that,
go
you
down,
pick it
it
up
disappears
live.
and I can't see it. Maybe I can
So,
do
I mean,
like that.
now,
See what the delay is.
you'll see
But curse
not
words
bad.
and all they
We're
come through,
actually
so I'll try to curse
live
and
right
stuff like
now
that.
on that.
So
if
how
you're
I'm
sick,
doing
you
this,
just
the other
kinda
thing
go back,
is,
go today, whatever.
for some reason this chops part of the screen. I don't know why. So if you go back and look at the last semester lectures, you'll see a couple like this. You'll see a bunch like this, and you'll see a bunch like this. 2 ways to do this stuff. I'm going to bounce back and forth between these 2 ways. One, because I need the exercise. So if I sit up here scrunched over this stupid device, it may look pretty, but then I walk out and I need to go to the chiropractor. So have you ever gone to the dentist? And if next time you go to the dentist, ask them, do they know a good chiropractor? Because everyone, and think about this, they're like doing this all the time. And so if you talk to them, you'll find every single one of them goes to the chiropractor. And they go like 2 or 3 times a month. That's got to be tough. I could never do that. So I may do that a little bit more this semester, just to move around. So the thing I need to do is to make sure I get the screen. You can see this projector's in the way. So I'll try my best to get a reasonable, mark the thing and not right off the camera. I don't know if I think this camera is only whatever K, I don't know. I don't think it's 4K. And that's the thing I was looking for the remote for. So outside that, there's this thing for Pearson support. And that's their support thing. So if you got a question or something's berserky or something, just shoot them an email. I don't know their response time. And then there's a little PDF that I'm not sure, they sent me the link to it, so I copied it and put it in here. And it's a little thing of how you enlist or get the book. And that's pretty much it. Anybody have any questions? So you're free to come, I will tell you this, it's not a purposeful thing that I do, but I kind of do this, and you should be aware of it. So people who do come to class, they kind of get a little bit of preference. I had a few people that were like, oh, can I come visit you during your office hours? I said, oh, okay, that sounds fine. I said, but do you have a question? Yeah, okay. I said, well, come to class. And I noticed that was the first time they showed up to class. So, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm not judging anybody. But, the class time is a good time to ask questions. And a person who comes to class, usually if they want to ask me a question in my office, I'm like a little bit more. I'm like, okay, fine. However, I will say I do a lot of office hours on what's that thing called? No. Well, I tried to avoid the WebEx. It messed up my computer. What's it? Zoom. So I do that sometimes. I've actually found that advising appointments work really well with that, because you can share screens, and it's like, I don't require that funny document they have, because I think it's kind of mundane. Request to register, or request to be here, or something like that. Request for something. I basically give you your number, and you go and register. You send me back your thing, and if you need a thing, I do it. Because that way I can share the screen. We can see everything. I find a lot of stuff works that way. It's better. Also, I think the reverse of that is true. I think we depend too much on technology, too much on that stuff. I'll give you a case in point. I go to the drive-in window at McDonald's. Now, this is not a good
a correlation. But the lady was just like crazy at me, and I was like, okay. And she goes, I'm just gonna go. She said, I'm gonna go to the other window. You figure it out. I'm gonna go to the other window. She got kind of frustrated with me, and I'm like, so I drove around I just said, okay, fine. I drove around, said a few 4-letter words with my windows rolled up. Got out, went inside, and then I was like, well, here's what I think I need. And in person, when you see somebody's face, there's a part of a communication that doesn't exist on a web stream or on an app or anything like that. So there was a couple behind me, and I thought they were behind me, but they were in front of me. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, and he goes, oh, no, I'm trying to figure out this app. And so I placed my order, and she comes around the side of the desk and helps both of us set up this app and shows us what, and like different customer service, because she could see I was a human. And you could see the guy and the girl behind me, which I thought were behind me, but were actually in front of me, were human too. And it was like, oh, this is a human conversation. I'm not used to that. And so when you see those things, they're more valuable than you think. Another case in point. Several years ago, my sister-in-law was one of the higher-ups at Coca-Cola. She had an intern. And if you go to Coca-Cola in Atlanta, I think it's the second floor. It's basically free food, free Cokes for employees or people who are allowed to come in because they know an employee. On the second floor, she was in line, and one of the vice presidents of the company was right in front of her. She had her intern. So she proceeded to introduce the intern to the vice president. And during the conversation and introduction, she pulled out her phone and started looking at her phone. And one of the things that did is, if you think about what that did, that broke the conversation and basically kind of said that whoever's on the phone is more important. My sister-in-law was very angry about it because this was an opportunity to network face-to-face to someone who was at a vice president level. And you got to think about these type of implications of what you're using your technology for. The other thing is it messes with your brain. Several reasons. Just physiologically, you've got a fixed focal length, and it turns out that there is evidence to support, quite a bit of evidence to actually support that fixed focal length monitor cell phone correlates to a higher level of depression. And it turns out that our bodies were built to survive a lot of things. And one of the doctors one time told me tennis is one of the best things because your focal length is changing constantly, it's moving around. That eye movement plays a lot of role in that. As a matter of fact, there's a therapy called EMDR, and it basically deals with eye movement, and it's been used for veterans at the veterans hospitals, and it does amazing things. But that fixed focal length, where you're seeing that, even though you see a 3D, maybe they have a 3D thing, that movement away where your focal is changing back and forth plays a major role in your mental state as you get older. So that's something to think about as well. That's why I get to the point where I hate phones and I hate some of this stuff. I'll do it, but I don't like it. I think it's the wrong direction to go, but that's where we are. So if you got any questions past that, there's that. I think I got, one other thing. I don't know how to move this. I don't know, can I move it to here? No. Hide link, rename link. It doesn't let me move this link. Okay, so this link, I just added it, okay? And when you add it, I guess it forces it to be here. I can't move it. I'd like it to be right under the content. But it's a section called videos. And it's just it's a little booklet, and inside that booklet, you've seen this from last time. You go inside the booklet, and then there's a whole pile of videos. Sometimes there's goofy things like video to be added. That was, umpteen, so ignore that. But so that's the only other thing. If you want, I don't know why you would, but so this is me. That's my dog. So you can see, subscribers, and for some reason it says at bfithin1021. I don't know why that's there. But I also have three other sites. If you go in, you got to go in here to search. Search there. And I can put this out there if you want it. Oh, geez, where'd it go? Did I type it in wrong? I don't know my own name. There's all sorts of weird stuff. You don't want to see weird stuff. There's some weird stuff out there. Maybe I'm supposed to put a space in between it. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Why is it that way? So here's the ones I used to use. So there's a bunch of old lectures out there. So I used to, and here's the wind tunnel. Nobody really cares, but there's a lot of stuff out there. So this is where I started. And then I transitioned over to the other because of security reasons. It turns out that this other account that has my dog on it, actually I can log in here and leave it because I don't have anything there. And so the other one, I have stuff that I don't want to be exposed. So, Any questions?
Question.
Oh, yeah.
It says I need a course ID to enroll in this course.
If you need massive assignments, you can do
Oh, okay. Oh, it needs a. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can. Did you? Okay, wait. Hang on. Okay. Give me a second. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? There we go. I thought I had this up, but then I go to courses. Oh, I have to look at this screen. Okay. So look real close. Okay. So this is this semester. This is dynamics, right? I think that's it. But make it really big.
You gotta register and either buy it or sign up for what you can access.
Does that make sense?
Rob, I don't know how to get where I can buy it.
Yeah, listen, if you look at the bottom of the page, you can do it.
I clicked that and it says entry course ID.
Uh-oh. Oh, this is why I hate technology. Let me see. Is there something about this? Oh, we got 4 people enrolled.
Yep. I guess it's just mine.
Okay, there's something. Okay, so this temporary unpaid access, you can do that. And then at a certain point, it gives you like 2 weeks. And then does it send you back an email, enter your credit card or something like that? Or oh, okay. So I hate, there's part of me that hates this and there's part of me that likes it. The part I hate is getting everybody on board. And because they don't show me what to say to you to help you to get on board. They just say, well, have them contact us. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I guess I should accept that a little bit more, that that's their role. So what I'm saying is share with each other your experience and be patient with each other if you're having trouble getting on board. Ask somebody, I mean, from that perspective, if you want me to, I can send an email to the whole class with everybody's email. And then you can respond to that back and forth. To me, there are many different ways. You can set up a social thing. You can do. I've had people over there in Corley, well, you go in there and you do this and you do that. And on Blackboard, you can have what is that thing called? Some sort of social thing. So they can communicate with each other. And I said, well, how long did that take you? Well, it took me 4 days. And I'm like, screw that. I'm not going to do that. I can send an email to everybody. And then if you're having trouble, send an email back to that and pay attention to the email coming back. Do respond to all and be patient with each other and say, okay, I'm having trouble here. And then, go ahead. Like if y'all go to lunch or something, and I'll meet you for lunch and you can show me, bring your laptop and you can show me how you did it or something. So I'm asking you to be patient with you. You may actually end up working together at a job somewhere sometime. Or you may find 10 years down the road, hey, I know there's a job there. Well, I work there, and you may get a job from working with somebody after, you leave. That's happened a lot. I've seen that happen a lot. Where two people leave, they go work. They were about the same year and in the same classes. I know there was the air conditioner plant in Fort Smith. A bunch of people left it, went to Falcon Jet. They all got back together again. They've moved around a lot. So when you do that networking, this is an opportunity to network for yourself as well. So, networking with me is kind of useless. So I got 4 people on, so that's good. I didn't do anything. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that. I should have said 4 people got on. I don't know how they did it. So share with each other. So I'll send an email to everybody that says this is the global email. If you have questions, send it back to each other. Just remember to reply to all. And if you want to set up some other thing for the class, do it, and then let me know, because I don't know if I want to spend 4 days trying to figure out something. Then it may take you 4 days to figure out how to operate it. Email is just like that. It's a button. So, I'm done.
I gotta fix it now.
Oh, do you? Okay. Good. That didn't take 4 days.
Thank you.